bit of an introduction here to share with you. Forgive me if it sounds like I'm just reading, but that's what I'm doing, is just reading what I wrote. So this session will be recorded for future NAWIC education purposes. By remaining on this call, you agree and give permission to NAWIC for the recording. You can go ahead and start the recording, Allie. Thank you everyone for taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us for this Tradeswomen Town Hall hosted by the Southeast Minnesota Chapter 346. My name is Jody Wimmerschlag, currently serving as our chapter president. I am a project manager with Hunt Electric Corporation and just celebrated 15 years with them. This afternoon's discussion is a result from a conversation with NAWIC member Jory Johnson, City of Rochester Project Manager of Targeted Business and Workforce Compliance. Tasked by the very first female mayor for the City of Rochester, Kim Norton, Jory is exploring ways to retain and recruit women and minorities in the construction industry, specifically those in the skilled trades. She reached out to NAWIC as a resource, and I thought the first thing we could do is to bring tradeswomen to the table to talk. As Lauren Barlow, producer of Hard Hatted Women, recently quoted on behalf of tradeswomen, "If it is about us, without us, it is not for us." The construction industry in the US generates around $2 trillion in revenue in the United States. Construction is a major contributor to the US economy. The industry has more than 680,000 employers with over 7 million employees. According to the article, Women in Construction, the State of the Industry in 2021, Laura Zitman quotes, of all of the people working in construction, women comprise only 10.3%. Even smaller is the number of women on the front lines of a job site. Only 1 for every 100 employees in the field. Considering that women make up 47% of all employed individuals, this means that the construction industry is only benefiting from about 1.25% of women in the workforce. Female representation in the construction industry has remained relatively flat, around 10% for over the past 30 years. Invited to this session are members of the NAWIC National Board. We would like to welcome President Ann Flagger for being here tonight, tradeswomen of NAWIC, members of NAWIC, industry leaders, and community members who are passionate about growing together. So it is my honor to be your moderator. Please mute yourself and make sure you share your comments and questions in the chat. Assisting today with the chat is our Vice President, Melanie Bjorkman, and Secretary, Katie Reinhardt. All right, let's begin by introducing our panelists. Evelyn, will you please share a little bit about yourself?
Hello, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate this. It's an honor to be on here and to be able to talk with all you ladies on here and to really get in the trenches and really be honest about what's really going on between all of us, and to also advocate us being better allies with each other and helping each other, and not saying that this is not me and not want to be involved. But again, my name is Evelyn Pacheco. I'm the founder of Nevada Women in Trades. I'm the first Black woman to get a plumber's license in the state of Nevada. I journeyed out in 2007. I am also a grandmother, and I'm raising a 7 and a 9-year-old, lucky me. And I am an Army veteran. And the goal is to prepare women here in the state of Nevada for successful careers in high-skilled blue-collar trades. That's the goal. That's what we're doing. And thank you all again for letting me be on here.
Thank you, Evelyn. That is why you're here, because you have a very significant voice. You've got a passionate background, and we learned together. And so thank you for being here. I appreciate it. So Allie, tell our attendees a little bit about you and how you landed in the construction industry.
Hi, Jody. Hi, ladies. Thank you so much for putting this together and bringing us all together. for this fun town hall. I'm excited for the conversation. My name is Allie Jensen. I'm president and CEO of Frontline Floor Coatings in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And we are a concrete finishing company. So we're primarily subcontractors, and I am both in the office and out in the field getting dirty, playing with concrete and epoxy coatings. So that's a little bit about what I do. I've been in this particular field for just over 9 years. And, 9 times out of 10, I'm on a construction site, whether it's commercial or residential, and I'm the only female that's out there. I'm the only one. And so I realized early on, being a business owner and a tradeswoman, that there's not a lot of known support mechanisms for women in my position. And so I created something. I created Girder Skirts, which is tradeswomen supporting tradeswomen here in Colorado. And so I'm very active on social media under that platform, trying to get to know tradeswomen across the globe. I have a YouTube channel where I interview tradeswomen from across the world, and we kind of get down and dirty as well. We talk about some of the challenges and we talk about some of the positives. And so I'm here representing the gals that get out there and get real dirty.
Allie, you're incredible. And I asked for you to please share in the chat your information, your links, things that people can follow you. I've been following the things that you've been doing, and you're amazing conversationalist, and I'm happy to have you here. Thank you. So Jenny, it's good to see you. Will you please give a little background on you and what you've been up to lately?
Sure. So my name is Jenny Bakken. I started out in the trades. So back in high school, I did a lot of construction with my family, a lot of shingling, building houses. At the age of 18, I started working in Rochester for a commercial company, Beneke Construction. Worked there for a long time. I think I have probably 17 years in there now. And within that time, I also worked for Viking Sprinkler, which dealt with inspections, like it's fire suppression. So I worked with them for 3 years. I owned my own business for a while, for about 2 years. Was a registered DBE contractor. Right now, that's kind of stalled. It's just kind of dormant right now, but certified fire door inspector. And I currently head up at a medical facility here in Rochester, about 110 trades people, carpenters, laborers, block layers, cement, and just kind of take care. It's been a crazy year with COVID, as you guys can expect. Probably the best, it is definitely the best year I've ever had in my life, in my career. It was invigorating, challenging, awesome. It's pretty awesome. So yeah, so here I am.
Well, thank you for taking the invitation, Jenny. I know you're a very busy lady, and it's always a pleasure to see you and talk to you, and make sure you tell Rich I said hello.
I will.
So Evelyn, I know that there is a lot of challenges for women in the field. Can you just touch a little bit on what you've encountered, working out in the field?
You're correct. There's a lot of challenges, and there's always going to be a lot of challenges, I believe, until we bring us all to the table to squash them, and get our percentages up on how many women are entering into the trades. Right now we have low percentages, and I believe that's why we're having more challenges. I believe if we had more people would getting information out here on how to get into the trades, on who's doing things, and women have more women advocates out here too, to like Allie's doing, like she's doing her girder skirts. That helped me a lot with the pockets. That put my name out there. So we need more women like Allie out here that's actually putting the information out here, because you'd be surprised on how many women don't even know what trades mean, don't even know what construction is, don't even know how the building got there. Right. So to me, that's the challenge for me with Nevada Women Trades is marketing. It's getting the information out there to know that I'm here for you, and we're a no-cost program, and we're a 6-week program. Here's our website, and again, back to being better allies, right? It still goes right back to that again. So to me, those are the main challenges that I see.
So Jenny, you as a carpenter, you know, in your role now and your roles in the past, you know, what kind of challenges did you see that you had to overcome being out in the field?
I guess, you know, starting out young, I didn't go to college, so I went straight into the trades. And at the time, I was the only female in the company that I worked for. So just, I was really fortunate. The guys took me in. They were good teachers. You know, you're going to have a few people that I feel like are always going to be against the grain with you. But I found out that, you know, with that, those people are against the grain with many, many people. So I think probably some for me would be, you know, deciding where I wanted to go and trying to motivate myself and find the correct ways to, you know, move into a different position. So, you know, I was in the trades. I took a position in an office to do like project management. And, you know, I was scared to death on some of that, but I took a leap on some of it. And it was the best thing that I had ever did. That helped me get to my position where I'm at now. I think, you know, looking back, talking to kids like in high school, or I had someone message me today about their daughter wondering if they could talk to me. Just getting it out to those people, if they are graduated or going to be graduating, just to let them know like it's okay to call somebody up and talk to them and find out, or maybe a company will let them job shadow. Because I think for a while I didn't know where I was heading, but I knew I wanted to head somewhere different, you know? So maybe just having communities and people out there to bounce stuff off of.
So I think too, maybe what you're kind of saying is that company culture is a big deal, and that we, you know, not only train our people in the office to work together, but also give that healthy environment in the field. And when you get that from the top down, I think it really makes our jobs a lot easier, you know, moving in that direction. But, you know, Allie, I would ask you, you know, how often do you feel that your gender has made it more difficult to progress in your career? But on the other side of that, has it decreased since you become more established?
Yeah, so when I first started out, you know, I would go to a job site for a pre-construction walk or a pre-bid job walk for like a tenant remodel or something like that, to get my square footage measurements, find out exactly what the customer wanted. I found that when I would first go out, I had a ton of guys just immediately start asking me questions like, do you really know what you're doing, kind of questions. And at first I was very offended. And pretty soon I just said, you know what? I'm damn good at what I do. I know what I do. And so I think having that self-confidence now, walking onto a job site because I know what I know I'm good at what I do. I kind of let that stuff wash off, because once I start answering their technical questions pretty smartly, they're like, this chick knows what she's doing. And so then that kind of questions kind of stop, because they realize very quickly that I do know what I'm doing and I'm good at what I do. So so it has improved for sure. And I just think that comes with experience. You know, you get more confident the more experience you get. And kind of like what Jenny said, is that it's hard to get your foot in the door. It's hard to get people to allow females to get that experience or are willing to train, because I feel like there's a perception that it's going to take longer to train a woman than it would a man. And that's the kind of culture that needs to get out of here, because we're just as capable, we're just as intelligent as the guys are. So
you talk about, you know, being confident, Allie, and knowing your stuff basically, but what are some other characteristics that you would say have helped you along the way and can help others along the way?
So what's helped me along the way is being open to learning, not feeling like I am always the smartest person. I know there's always somebody smarter than me. on any given project. And I'm always willing to learn from them. And I ask questions of them. Hey, how did you get to where you are? How did you learn XYZ kind of problem? So I ask questions. My dad always taught me the only stupid question is the one you didn't ask. And so I ask a lot of questions to gain knowledge for myself. The other thing is being able to communicate without a lot of emotion. Sometimes on job sites, things can get said that are offensive and not PC, if you will, and learning how to counter those without throwing a fit and getting in somebody's face, even though that has been necessary at sometimes. But learning how to diffuse situations with the words that I choose to speak has been a huge, huge help for me.
Can I get in on this right here?
I was coming to you next.
I knew Evelyn would want to say something.
Yep.
Right here. Pick your battles. That's what I tell the ladies in my program. Not everything's a battle, what Allie just said. Not everything's a battle. And again, we're in their world. They're not in our world. So we have to adjust to all the things that they say, how they talk to us. And no, we don't want to be discriminated against. No, we don't want to be touched on. No, those are things I'm not talking about. I'm just talking about other things that you need to pick your battles on. Something like that, of course, you need to go to the appropriate place to tell the right appropriate person, or even tell your husband, your girlfriend, or whoever you're going to tell, right? There's other ways to handle all of that in the field, you know? And I think showing up on time, knowing what you're doing, sticking with your journeyman, asking the right questions. And again, like Alice said, dumb question that's not bad, right? If you don't know, you don't know. But not being a smart aleck either. And actually really shut your mouth, right? And actually listen to what people are trying to teach you instead of thinking you know that, oh, I know that, and I always got something to say behind everything. Stop that. Just be in the moment, right? What they're showing you, what they're teaching you, be in the moment, right? And that's that, you know. And even before you want to go to the job, look up what they're doing. Find out what certifications you might need or stuff like that. You know, there's a lot to prepare you that you need to be prepared for when you get on the job or doing a job.
Absolutely, there is. Absolutely. And, you know, kind of trailing off of that too, Jenny, I mean, we talk about, you know, the gals here are saying, you know, we need to be open to learning. And I would think that, you know, having mentors and people like that would have been important maybe in your career. Is that something that you feel helped you along the way?
Huge. It like made everything. I think just having like really good mentors. My husband is a general and superintendent in construction, and I can go to him with anything. And he's extremely respectful. And any of the people that I work with, if I go to my office, just asking questions, being willing to learn. I learn something, at least I learn 5 new things every week. And kind of like, you know, just echoing them, just being okay with asking, never feeling stupid about something. Because once you've mastered that, you've went through it once, you are, you know, you're on your way. You've learned a new skill. You become more valuable. And the next time something comes up, you've got it. So I've used a lot of mentoring throughout it. So.
That's awesome. And I see you as a mentor too. And that is great, you know, just by, you know, having somebody be able to give a phone call and say, you know, do you think this will be the right career for me, and show me a few things. So I appreciate that, what you do, Jenny, every day. You know, Allie, just kind of wondering, you know, we all know what unconscious bias is, right? So how do we best raise awareness and try to overcome that unconscious bias?
Yeah, that one is a really tough one because at the root of it, it's really a culture issue. It's a construction culture issue. You know, for years and years and years, it's just been, you know, construction is just a man's job. And that's not true. We know that it's not true. But what we get into is that cognitive dissonance. You know, when the reality in front of you doesn't match up with the beliefs that you've been raised with. And I think that is a huge challenge. And I really see it switching. the tide is turning. The younger gentlemen that I see on the construction sites, my project managers, my project estimators, they're very inclusive of women. And I see that happening more with the next generation coming in. And so I'm really hopeful that things are going to be shifting. But to try and overcome it currently, it really stinks, because the old adage is that you've got to just prove yourself. You just got to go out there and work and show them you know what you're doing. And right now, that's probably the best thing. Yes, Jody.
I'm so sorry. I was waving at Tony Joseph. He's he's with Canute Construction, and he was hanging over Lindsay's
Yeah, I
chair
told
there.
him, I'm like, maybe not a good time. He's like, I just want to wave.
I thought you were waving at me for a question, so no worries.
We actually do have a question in the chat. How do you all deal with passive aggressive attitudes from?
Oh,
Well, wait a
yeah.
minute. Okay. I kind of hit on that already. You got to pick your battles, right?
Mhm.
So that's
Yep.
not, I kind of really hit on that a little bit, but I know I'm not trying to lead this, but I want to go back with Allie. I don't agree with Allie said, because I've had the best journeymen when I came through the trade were ones that were journeying out, were the own timers. It's about the person that's in the trade. It's about their own mental capacity. It's about how they think about women. It's about how they judge women. It's about how they see women. I don't think it has something to do with the younger generation, the middle generation, the older generation. It's definitely about that person that's going through the trades at that time. And that's what I believe, because I had some really, really great old timers that taught me a lot, that protected me on job sites, that wouldn't let nobody mess with me. So
Yep.
I don't agree with the young, the middle, I don't agree with that, because those old timers are still in my corner on my Facebook saying, yeah, I love what you're doing. Those are old timers. Those are ones that are already journeyed out, they've been retired for years. So I don't really agree with you, Allie, on that. And I think it's how we're being portrayed. And I'm not saying all women, but I'm gonna put it out here, right? We come on these jobs with our boobies hanging out, with makeup on, with lipstick, with tight clothes, with wanting a boyfriend, wanting a husband. Stop it, right? Stop it.
So the beauty,
these jobs and do what we're supposed to do, and show them we know what we're supposed to do, and we do what we do because we can do what we do.
Evelyn, the beauty about NAWIC is that, it's always been told to me, and I've always seen it, is that we can have conversations where we are comfortable here. And I like that, we can agree to disagree, and we can all talk and still take something away from it. So I really, really appreciate this. And I really think the conversation, I like how it's going. Jenny, you know me. And when this question was written, I thought, how do you deal with the expectation that women should always be nice and accommodating?
I read that question, and I really have never heard that personally. And I haven't personally. I just figure I treat people and try to make relationships. I respect them. I gain the respect back. So I try to go with a good attitude, and if you're going to run into someone who's going to be a little bit snarky to you or whatever, I think it's just go in there, do your job, business, talk to them, and you eventually might gain their respect. If you don't, same thing. It is what it is. Just move on, do my job, walk out the door, and move on to the next. So
that's where,
yeah.
Some of these questions, they're almost stereotypical, because that's how we maybe envision women, and that's not necessarily the case. And so that's why having you and Evelyn and Allie here talking with the tradeswoman voice is so important, so that the rest of us who are not actually in the field are hearing that this is not what the expectation is, and this is not what our everyday practice is. Would you agree?
I do. And I actually, over the years, I have had tons of, older tradesmen, and even down to now apprentices now, they're pretty intimidated by us too. So I think we always have to remember that they are, sometimes I come home and I'll say, God, this guy wouldn't talk, couldn't get anything out of him. they're really intimidated by us. And 3 days goes by and you're hitting it off just fine. So I always walk into the room thinking that same thing. I might be, melting down inside. They probably could be doing the same thing. It's just getting past that barrier.
So I would think, Anne, you would agree that, this is a good tool for NAWIC to have those conversations and bring, our male counterparts to the table and discuss this. What do you think?
I completely agree. Something that I've been learned to do recently is podcasts. Some people have asked me to join podcasts, and we've had a lot of these conversations about the company culture and how it has to come from the top down. And when the VPs and the presidents of the company are out on the job sites, that they talk to everybody. They don't just talk to the men or just the women. They talk to everybody the same. So yes, these conversations are very important. And NAWIC, we hear you, and we're passing that along, and anything that we can do to help the women in the trades, we want to do that.
Thank you, Anne. You're always good about being put on the spot. So, Allie, can you talk a little bit more about girder skirts? I mean, this is something where you'd be, mentoring and influencing people about coming to the trades. And sometimes those types of programs are not offered all over the place, like what Evelyn has created as well. So tell us a little bit about girder skirts and what you do, and that might give us some ideas to try some things in our own communities.
Yeah, so I'm fortunate here in Colorado. We have a program called Careers in Construction Colorado, and it was actually started right here in Colorado Springs by our local Housing and Building Association, and it was instrumental to bring some large contractors together, a lot of money together, but they basically brought shop classes back to the high school level at many of the high schools here in our region. And so that was a really great resource. And then they started an adult program through that as well. So, my MO with girder skirts is to be the connector. I didn't have a mentor or a support person other than my husband. I will give him mad props for putting up with me for 9 years in business together. So, but there was nobody that was really like me that I could just go to and tap and say, hey, how did you handle this situation? I mean, I've really had to learn it on my own in the trenches. And so I did not want other ladies in the trades to have to go through that. And so I want to be the key point that says, hey, come talk to me. I can help you find, the electrician's apprentice program, or how do you enroll in such a program, those kinds of things. So I'm all about doing research and connecting people to what they need to be successful as a tradesperson.
I think that's awesome in the work that you're doing. And I know that you have that passion, and it's great. And like Evelyn said, she has taken things from that as well. Evelyn, I'm going to ask this question to you. So in addition to women's place in the trades, how can we be more inclusive to people of different ethnics?
Again, it's getting the information out there about trades and actually going in. It's like this, right? We need to go to these places, right? We need to go to these groups of women, be it's reentry, be it's the welfare building, be it's a church, be it's a mosque, be it's Walmart, be it's whatever. And we need to actually bring this information to them. They don't know about this information. They don't know, like I said earlier, right? They don't know about the trades. They don't know about it. You'd be surprised how many women I stop at Walmart and start talking to them that has a little baby, or somebody at McDonald's, or a youth that doesn't know about this. We need to go to them. They don't know how to come to us. And that's been the whole problem. We be government or city, county, or any way, right? We need to go to these people, these women, and let them know what we're doing and what we have out here to offer them, so we can help them get a house, a car, put clothes on their backs, put clothes on their baby's feet. Help a woman that's coming out domestic that's having a fight with her husband because he's the one that has the money and she doesn't know how to get out of the situation because she's fearing that if she takes the kids away, that CPS will come in here and take her kids. So we need to upstep. We need to make the forward step to let all these women know that we're here for them. and Allie, again, I'm gonna bring her in here because Allie helps me a lot. I call her and ask her questions about certain things. But I love that even though she's on the other side over there of United States, that me and her still connect in the way that we're connecting. And it brings me to what I'm doing in September. I'm having a National Alliance Women in Trade Summit, September 10th at the Mirage. And it's going to be about career women. It's about bringing us all together in one umbrella, being better allies, advocacy, empowerment. And I'm asking Allie, you know, I've been hinting to her to be there, be a speaker there on our panel. But this is the thing to me that we just need to do. We need to get the information out there. We need to bring everybody together. And again, ladies, become better allies. Stop turning your head. Stop having one foot in the trench and one on the couch, because you can't do that.
Thank you, Evelyn. You know, Jenny, and I'm not sure, I'm kind of interested to hear what you come up with here, just because we're from the same community. But this question kind of intrigues me about you is, how have you positioned yourself to be part of projects that are opportunities for learning and growing, but which you didn't have much prior experience to contribute?
I think this is like a part of my makeup. It was just going out there and trying, like, you got something going on, I'd be interested in that. Can I, going out of my comfort zone on projects, being turned down certain times, but always, I did a lot of research, a lot of training on my own as well. So I, paid to go, do different trainings, spent a lot of time doing YouTubes, learning programs on my own. And that helped. And, then you get your foot in your door and then they see your potential. So it's, and I've been very fortunate at the places that I've worked. They're very open to letting you try something, not, you could not succeed with something, but letting you try. I mean, I think just having that experience, walking through the motions once, you can really take a lot away from it and just keep progressing.
Obviously, we've got the right panelists here because you all are leaders and you've all done different things to advance yourselves in your career. And I was just curious if you had anything you wanted to bring to the table and ask kind of here in midway of what we've been talking about, what you're hearing.
Thanks, Jody. I do. I don't know if you guys have heard of the Apprentice High Schools of America, but they reached out to me recently and asked me a question, and I know how I feel about it, but I wanted to offer it to you to see if maybe I could get your input before I respond to them. But they were asking if they thought that having a single gender format may be more popular with both male and female students in these apprenticeship programs. Now, I'll go ahead and answer mine first, but please don't, answer how you feel. I personally think that they shouldn't be single gender. We should all be together learning the same thing. But I do want to hear what you guys have to say about it.
I'll chime in on that one. I would 100% agree with you, Ann. We have to learn to work together with the guys from day one. Like, if we're going to go through training with them, like, we need to be side by side, like what Evelyn mentioned before. It may be an opportunity where maybe some of these young girls might feel more comfortable just having themselves in a group of girls. But I feel that the sooner that they start working alongside the guys, the better off they'll be.
Thank you. Jenny, what do you think?
I think so too. I think it's all right to have, some like separate, like a mentoring thing. If it be like, like with a female with, a high school student that wants to learn more. But I think if we separate ourselves right in the beginning, I think we want to blend right away. And they're probably going to learn so many skills right off the bat at that prime time that it's just going to be a positive.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Evelyn.
Okay. I know I'm always going to be this one. Okay. So I think youth, like elementary, junior high, part of high school, I think yes. But I think once they turn 18, I think no. I think because we are different and we have different problems. We have different issues than the guys do. So sometimes women, if a woman's been through a problem with the male that she doesn't want to be around, and that's why a lot of women come into my program, because they don't want to deal with the males. They don't have, again, violent issues or like sexual issues. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. So you gotta have both, right? I just think when it's youth, that's fine, right? We can put them kind of combine them all together. But I think once that 18 mark hits, things change. Your life change. You go do different things. You're at different parts in your life, you know. And some women have literally, like I said, came to me and said they don't want to be with the male counterpart. They want to be in the women's program. They want to be with somebody who's like them. They want to be with somebody that understands what they're going through. So that's mine.
Great. Thanks, Evelyn. That's a good way to look at it too. So, okay. Thank you very much. That really helps.
Thanks, Anne. Great question. Great conversation. My mind went all over the board there when I was thinking about how I would respond to that. And, you know, just briefly here, you know, just coming to NAWIC and being in a women's organization that we can have these conversations and talk with people that are just like us are important too, you know. And we have the sisterhood of the brotherhood and things like that are out there that happen. So I think that there's definitely ways to make connections, you know, with people that are the same as ourselves, but yet learn how to work together. So great conversation. So Katie, I'm going to open it up to you if you've got a few things in the chat that you would like to share.
Thanks, Jody. We do have another question that just popped up. As a tradesperson in the trenches, have there been any physical limitations compared to your male counterparts that have been an obstacle?
Of course, right? You got to think, okay, so I'm a pipe fitter out of 525 Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Union. Very proud to be a pipe fitter and a plumber in HVAC, in welding, and all of that, right? But we have to really be logical here, right? I mean, me lifting 8-inch pipe by myself is not going to happen, right? We got to make sure we have the tools there to help us lift those pipes. And also, a lot of men are willing to come over that are passing through, or somebody's passing by, really to help you lift things up and help you get to that point. But you should not let that be an obstacle, right? You just shouldn't. You just got to figure it out, you know, like anything else in life. So you have to figure it out, how to lift this, how to lift that 3-inch, how to get that 8-inch on there and pull it up, and how to hoist it and all those things. It's just using the brain and figuring out ways on how to get that done. That's all. They're no stronger than us. They're no smarter than us. Actually, we're smarter than them, to be really honest with you, because we have the data. We do everything else. So I just want to put that out there. Any males that are on here, I'm sorry to tell you, but it's true. But so we can figure it out. That's us. Women are just like that. That's just in our head. We do things all, you know, that's just us. So that's my answer.
I think if I were to intersect anything into that too, just, you know, learning more and more about safety and having the right tools to do the job, you know, there's no need to show off, if you will, if there's something that, you know, physically is hard for you to do, because there could be physical challenges with a lot of things. And like you said too, Evelyn, I mean, women are different, you know. We've had women in the field that are pregnant that, you know, may run into some things that they may not be able to do. But on the counter side of that too, you might have had somebody who's had a male that's had an injury that may be restricted a little bit as well. So I think having the right tools and having your company support you with the right tools and always looking for ways to work safely is probably, you know, the key to working through those issues, I would think.
Jody, one more thing on that topic, just real quick, is ask for help. Like, you know, guys, when they're on the site, if there's something too heavy for them to lift, they're going to ask their counterparts for help. Women can do the same thing, and it's not a sign of weakness to ask for help. It's a safety issue, just like you were saying. If you're trying to lift something, for just an example, that's way too heavy for you, you're going to injure yourself. Ask for help, and don't be afraid to ask for help.
Absolutely. So to kind of steer into, you know, the core of why we came together tonight to talk about retaining and recruiting women, to the field. Allie, I'm going to ask you, what do you think can be done to change that statistic?
I think creating a more welcoming environment for new hires on the job site, or entry level positions, like a woman starting off as just a laborer with a construction company. Keeping that environment welcoming, friendly, that, that new hire is your new ally on the job site and not someone to be intimidated by or afraid of. I think that is part of it. The unconscious gender bias, see something, say something, kind of stuff, to just nip it in the bud. I think that is part of it. But then, just to piggyback on what Evelyn's been preaching to us, is we got to get the information to them. We got to get the information out there to these women that we want them in our industry. We need them in our industry. And so that is the other side of it, is that, construction is not just a man's job anymore. And we need to get that information out to the women who are interested in working with their hands and doing those kinds of jobs.
Most definitely. And I think too, one of the questions, it's a little bit further down my list here, but was something that Jory Johnson was thinking about, what kind of opportunities are out there, or programs that are out there that are not, just by our union apprenticeships. And union apprenticeships are very important and are a great resource, but what other opportunities, do we have? I think one in particular that comes from my mind is Miss Evelyn and what she's got going on. And maybe Evelyn, you can kind of explain what you kicked off and started to help bring women to the industry.
Again, two reasons why I did this. Well, like I said, three. Actually, there's three. My 7 and 9-year-old grandbaby. I'm raising them, and they're Black women. And I want to make sure that they know they can do anything they want to do. The sky's the limit. There's no ceiling. I even when I talk to the governors and the senators and the Fed senators, and I tell them all, you work for us. We don't work for you. And I let them know that, I'm just going to say it, that you sit on the toilet like we sit on the toilet. So we have no reason to talk to you any kind of special or do this to you. No, it's something that we all should be doing together, right? And I'm loving it that they're catching on to this. I'm loving it that they don't mind talking. I'm loving that they see me do panels. I'm loving that they're part of what's going on, and I'm teaching them. I'm being the mentor and the leader that we're supposed to be to these youth. The other reason why I did Nevada Women in Trades is because of being told what I couldn't do, I shouldn't do it, being cussed at, being discriminated against, being hung up on, being told that I'd never get this off the ground, being blocked by grants, being a lot of things, right? But that, again, it didn't stop me. And I've been doing this since September 14, 2018. And we've had 3 graduations already. And during the pandemic, I've had 2 graduations of women getting into the trades, entering the blue collar workforce here in Las Vegas, Nevada.
But explain what you do, Evelyn. Explain what you do with your students.
So we have a 6-week program, a no-cost program. And the goal is to have 4 programs a year with 25 a quarter. So we have speakers that come on and they mentor these women, they talk to them. We have speakers that are from all different everything, right? From lawyers to trades, to judges, to people doing printing, plumbing, low voltage. Oh my gosh, we have tours that we go on to the operators, so the women know what the operators are. We have tours that we go on for the laborers. We have plumbers and pipe fitters and HVAC. They go on tours with that. We got another union on now, which is sprinkler fitters. 669 is joining us now. We have 5 unions. I'm working on the iron workers right now, so we'll have 6 unions that are definitely working side by side, and not just working side by side, but are actually giving these women interviews, right? So that's a big deal. And the thing that we have to change is in each one of our states, we have to go to whatever the state apprenticeship councils are and tell them that they need to be part of our programs. They need to be helping with being mentors, helping us with we need CPR classes or any of those things. So that's what we do. We give them CPR, we give them forklift awareness, we give them OSHA 10 class certifications, all those things. But we have to bring in, each state has to come in, and building trades has to start doing their part in helping with what's going on here. We need them to be part of this. You know, it's like pulling teeth, right? You go and you say you want women, you have your bylaws that say you want women, but yet the statistics are not showing that, because here in Las Vegas, Nevada, it's only 272 women compared to 200 men, ladies, that are in southern building trades in Nevada, and that's ridiculous. 272, and that's not even talking about minority women that are in the trades here. To help with the numbers, to get the information out here, and to do what they're supposed to do and do their part, because their bylaws say they're supposed to be doing their part. I don't know if I answered that.
You did great. You did great. So, Jenny, to focus on inspiration, do you have a story to share where being a woman actually helped you move forward quicker?
I don't.
So what?
I don't have one. I literally, I thought about this and I don't.
You said, Jody, don't ask me this question. What about you, Allie?
So there was one instance, we were doing a pre-bid job walk, and one thing that I've always been really great at is networking. And so I've really worked hard at networking and building relationships with contractors. There's different contractors associations here in Colorado Springs. And so being a woman, being warm and being able to approach somebody and be like, hey, how you doing? And not know who they are, or, you know, not be intimidated because they're a guy. It's actually helped me to win projects, or at least the opportunity to bid on projects, by building relationships with other people. And women are absolutely amazing at building relationships with people. That's one of the things I talk about, is that, I mean, we are born communicators, because that's what we've always done. Ever since even, like, you know, the early days of tribal people, women were the glue for the tribe. They were the communicators. And so being a good communicator, building relationships, and being a woman has helped me to win bid opportunities. So.
That's awesome. That's an excellent answer. Thank you, Allie. Hey, Connie, I'm wondering if you would take a question from me. I see you there and have been watching you in the chat. And I've also seen you on some other Tradeswomen Council calls that we have. Welcome. And I hope you don't mind that I'm calling you out here, but I've got a question that maybe you can answer for me.
Sure.
Have you ever had to ask for something you needed on a job site to make your work easier? And how was that received?
Oh boy. I'm trying to think if I needed something specific, but I have had to ask foremen and superintendents sometimes to ask for more laborers or operators on the job site, or a different piece of equipment that would help the job get done in a more productive manner.
For sure, for sure. And Connie, tell us, how long have you been in the trades?
I worked construction 34 years. I worked non-union a couple years, and then I was a laborer 1 year, and then I've been an operator for 31 years. And still currently working and loving it.
And I'm sure that in your tenure, you have probably mentored some other women coming into industry. How did you approach that?
Well, in our local 49 International Union of Operating Engineers, another fellow sister I've known for many years, we decided to start a women's committee within our local just as a way to support and retain membership. And if the younger gals or the newer women starting in the trade had questions, we've been in it so long, we're hoping we could give them answers and increase our membership and increase more women in our local.
That's awesome, Connie. I thank you for taking that off the wall kind of change there and bring you into the conversation. But I know your story, and I know that you've been in this industry a long time, and I appreciate what you do every day. So thank you for taking my question.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I've really enjoyed this Zoom meeting and hearing everybody's comments today. It was really good. Thanks for having it.
Of course, of course. We'll have more as we get moving along. So, you know, I wanted to ask you, Jenny, you know, kind of that same question. Has there been a time when you've had to ask for something that you've needed on the job site to help your job go easier, and how was it received?
Absolutely. Like plenty of times. And I've had nothing but good results from it. Just if it be tools or equipment, like you said, or a new, you know, cart or something like that. It could be like a program, a computer program, been received really well. And it's nice to see that, because I think in the end, you know, you're more efficient, you learn something, you're safer. So yeah, it's been very good.
So I attended recently a conversation with Kat Dobson. A lot of us here from NAWIC know who she is. And it was interesting for her to talk about sanitation on job sites right now with COVID. How do you feel, Jenny, being, you know, in our area and out on the job sites right now? Are things, you know, up to par? Could there be better circumstances out there? What are you seeing?
I see within where I work at with my business and what, you know, clients that we work with, we have an amazing program, I think, going on. You know, lots of safety meetings about it. The products are always there if you need something. I think the sanitation with COVID was handled really, really well. Felt really safe throughout all of it, and was in the middle of it at any given time. Little surprised, didn't catch it at some point, but the information was always there, a phone call away if you needed more stuff. So yeah, I was kind of impressed by it, actually.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I know too, you know, it also comes from owners, you know, our employers as well, and our general contractors and the people who are overseeing that, but, you know, owners as well, as understanding that there's going to be some extra costs to help keep us safe. You know, Allie, have you been seeing anything where you're at? I mean, are things up to par, or could they be better?
You know, that I love this question because I can say both. I've been on job sites where, like, you know, the GC is all on top of it. There's hand washing stations all over the place. They're meticulous about keeping the porta potties clean on a routine, regular basis. And then I've been on the flip side of that, where it's kind of business as usual. People aren't wearing masks, that kind of thing. And so at that point, we kind of have to step up and say something and say, hey, you know, how come your guys aren't wearing a mask, or those kinds of things. But I will say that ongoing issue is sanitation and available PPE for women on the construction sites. Most of the time, if I don't bring my own stuff that I need, or I forget it, there's not an option for me to have something like another pair of gloves that fit my little dwarf hands that I have. So it's very important that I keep my tools with me. I usually just keep a tool bag in the trunk of my car, so it's always with me. But as far as just, you know, keeping things COVID compliant and safety wise and cleanliness wise, sanitation is still an issue.
I agree. Yeah, go ahead,
Joe. So like, you know, just on a lot of my crews, we even have, you know, tools get used, they get sanitized. We're given the material, the rags, the sanitation. We have had some trouble with, I'll say, like, you know, maybe a sub that's on a project indirectly with masks and different stuff like that. And it's a lot of tracking, a lot of extra time that I can't, you know, I don't know what it'll be like when we go back to like normal stuff like that. So we have had some of that issue, but yeah, as you know, It'll be interesting.
For sure, for sure. And, you know, sanitation is huge, you know, not only for women, but, you know, for men as well. I mean, it's, if anybody has met my husband, he is a germaphobe and appreciates a clean space to be at work and at home. So, you know what, Evelyn, I've got a question for you. And I'm, you know, this is, and I'm sure that you know this and will have a great response, but, you know, are you familiar with women and minority workforce participation goals on federal, state, or local projects?
On some levels, right now, I've been working with the National Task Force on the what is that? The HR, what is that? 8294 National Apprenticeship Act. And that's on the federal level on all kinds of things having to do with minorities and women and everything. So that's a big, huge project that's going underway under Biden's administration. So that's what you're talking about. Yes, I am working with people from all levels, including my own senators and congresswomen and men here that are pushing the HR 8294 Act, which got passed in the Congress, which also my name was mentioned on the floor through my congressman here, Horsford, and mentioned Nevada Women in Trades, and it passed. So I'm very much appreciated, and yes, I am doing.
So it's definitely impacted your career.
Definitely, and it needs to be that because again, minority women, we all know the numbers are low in everything, right? And that's one reason why I'm here, right? So to help the minority women to get bigger numbers, to let them know that it's possible, we can do it, and it needs to happen again. But we still need the help from everybody else to be better allies. Again, I'm going to keep saying that until it happens, because it's not happening. And it needs to happen. And it doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't matter where you came from. All it is that we all have the same thing, the same common goal is to take care of our families. That's it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, Allie, I mean, we talk about mentoring women in our youth. You know, just in your experience, do you know how deep, you know, like in pre-K, elementary, or high school, that career awareness really begins for trades?
Well, for me, being involved in NAWIC has really helped me branch out and try and be impactful to some of the kids in my local community. The Block Kids program, the Lego building competition for K through 6th graders or K through 5, the CAD design drafting for the high schoolers and things like that. But I would really like to see more hands-on opportunities for these kids. I would love to see field trip type opportunities for these kids. And maybe that'll happen when we kind of get back to normal, whatever that's going to be after this pandemic settles down. But I do believe that here in Colorado, at least, that construction and trades are being presented to more of these young people as an opportunity for a career pathway versus trying to go to a 4-year college or at least, or even going to 4-year college, but it's in a construction management or construction technology type situation. I know just down south in Colorado, Pueblo Community College has a great construction management program. So it's becoming more accessible and more prominent here in Colorado, but I know it's not that way across the country. And I would just really love to see, you know, trades being able to come in, you know, to like career assemblies or things like that at the high school level, even at the junior high school level, to introduce these kids to construction and the mass amount of opportunities for them. I mean, there's so many opportunities in construction all across the board for them.
That is so true. And I'm gonna put Anne on the spot here again, and for her to share a little bit of her knowledge as well. You know, I just met some people here in our community, and they've got this thing that's called Future Forward. And it is basically an online platform to keep schools and businesses aligned with each other so that we don't lose our connections as people change and move on. I know specifically for our chapter, our CAD design design drafting is what it is now with the NEF program. We lost track of doing that with our school because we lost track of the person who used to do it for us in the school, right? So, and, specifically with NEF, your knowledge is much greater than mine is. I had a nice conversation with Melanie Myers last week with Future Forward talking about NEF. And it's to my understanding that even, high school students can even take some of the courses that are offered through NEF and receive some certifications before they even get out into the field. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, NEF has certifications, and they're named adult certifications, but really anybody can, all you do is pay for it. It's a self-study, you take an exam. They have different programs like construction industry technician, which actually that's the one I have. They have estimating, scheduling, and then I think it's estimating, scheduling practitioner. That's the one I'm working on now. They've got one for bookkeeping. They've got construction industry specialist, and there's 2 other ones, and they're continually updating them. And they are accredited. So when you pass these certifications, they attach to your name, just like anything else, LEED or any other certifications that you get. And I know that NEF is really working hard to add on to those certifications. But the greatest thing about it now is that you can take the tests online. We initially, when they first came out, we had to have NAWIC members facilitate that already had a certification. And then they went to, you had to go to a specific site in person to take the test on a computer there. Well, now you can take it at any time in your home, right online, which is really great. I do want to mention one other thing. It was a partnership that NAWIC just joined with in January it's a company called NEPRIS. That's NEPRIS. And we have a platform where NAWIC members can go into schools, either junior high or high school across the country, and talk to the students. A lot of times what teachers will do is they'll put onto their platform, say that they're looking for a plumber or a pipe fitter, and whatever your profile, however it's set up, they will try and connect the 2 of you. And what's great is that with technology, you could be on your job site talking to this school of students. The first time that I did it, I was actually, I live in Ohio. So I was on my lunch in Findlay, Ohio, talking to a classroom in Kansas City, Missouri. So with the way we have technology right now, we really can get more into the schools and show them more what the job sites. I know that a lot of schools are, because of liabilities, don't want to take the students actually physically on field trips much anymore. So having the technology, we can still reach out to them and show them. And I think, just going around the job site is enough to show and excite the students to get into construction, because it's just amazing when you see buildings being built or whatever kind of trade that you're doing. So if anybody's interested in that, we do have a partnership with them on that.
So yeah, please share that in the chat, Ann, so that everybody knows what that is. And, just having this conversation with you right now just shows that NAWIC, and I know NEF is a separate entity of NAWIC, the NAWIC Education Foundation. They have a whole separate board and all of that. But NAWIC is another tool, aside from, I don't want to say just apprenticeship programs, but I mean, aside from some of those other established programs, because we are established and are able to share information and educate and promote women in our industry. But one thing I do want to note too is that those NEF certifications are for anybody, male, female. And so that's really important to know as well. One thing, Jenny, I'm going to ask you, because and you're in my backyard, how diverse do you feel our workforce is here?
In Rochester, kind of the Rochester area or whatever, I kind of did some percentages, and I was thinking like with where I kind of work, and I'm thinking, we're right around like 10%, maybe 12%. And that's just like minority. I don't know in the bigger cities if it's much worse or it's much better. I feel like we have a good, where I work around, we have a good, toss up of it. And it's, when you're hiring people, you're looking at, their job skills, what they can learn. So I don't always, I don't know if there's any stigma towards it. And I think it's growing for sure. I definitely think it's growing. and I hope it continues to grow. You know, there's definitely some programs I know that are utilized, like from the I think it's Workforce Development Center. So where they, you know, I think it's a 6-week program that they have them come in and do like different trades, and then companies hire on at the end of that 6 weeks to bring them onto the workforce. So I know specifically we have 2 or 3 that have did that, and you know what, they've worked out great. So it's really nice to have that type of program, because they're good people. They want jobs, they want a chance. So I was gonna tell you too, on the school, you know, I don't know if anybody knew, but like the Carpenters Union, if you go through a 4-year apprenticeship, and I found this out like 4 years ago, you actually, that gets you like, and I don't know if it's 18 credits towards college, but you can take a few more classes and you can get an associate's, I think it's associate's degree, by going through that apprenticeship. So it's not something that I've crossed out, but something I didn't know about for many, many years. So I don't know if the other trades have that type of program, you know, if people want to further their education.
That's a good question. I'm going to call out my friend, Mr. Jim Kelly on that one. Thank you for being here tonight, Jim. He leads a construction partnership in our area. Do you happen to know what the other unions hold that way, like Jenny is speaking?
Yes, she's right on track. It is 18 credits shy of an associate's degree for the apprenticeship program. And I think now they're offering even to help finance that at 0% interest through the Carpenters Union. But there's other unions out there, like the Painters Union. When you finish their program, you actually get an associate's degree. I believe the plumbers and pipe fitters have a similar program there where they help you get that. So that kind of takes away that barrier that a lot of parents have, not necessarily against going into construction trades, but they want their sons and daughters to get some sort of college degree instead of just a certificate. So they're kind of getting up to speed in that and kind of breaking down and taking away those barriers. So I think it's great. On the numbers that Jenny was talking about too, Jory with the city of Rochester has been working with all the different trade groups, kind of getting those numbers so they have a better handle too on what the current conditions are out there, you know, women and minorities in the workforce and that. So we have a better handle on the needs, and then as they put in requirements, can we even meet those in our area, and what do we need to kind of help build up and break down those barriers to eliminate those restrictions or, you know, stigmatisms of getting minorities and women in construction, because there's no reason why they can't be. So
yeah, well, thank you, Jim, and thank you for letting me call you out there. Jim has been a great he's been a great partner with NAWIC, and you know, seeing the future for diversity and for women in our field. Jory, if you're out there on the line, I saw your name there. If you want to just give a quick, you know, where you see the numbers at right now.
Jody. Hi, everyone. I don't, you know, we are really actually under our goals for women in construction, especially minority women in construction. So our goal is 7% this year, women in construction, and 15% for minorities in construction. We should probably be able to hit the goal for minorities in construction. But we're trying anything we can, any strategies. And I know I've talked with you, Jody, and a number of our members on trying to recruit women, and think we all just need to work together. And I'm really happy to hear, you know, any programming we can get in the high schools to create awareness. And I didn't realize that the apprentice programs qualify as college credits also. So that's really good to hear. That's news to me. Thanks for sharing that.
I want to add something. In here in Nevada, all the apprenticeship programs, you get college credits. I got 2 extra 2-year degrees, one in pipe fitting and one in something else. So I have a pipe fitter degree by going through my 5-year apprenticeship program here. So it's already happening here in Las Vegas. And I also want to answer to Jim Kelly. You got statistics, but what are the statistics for the women that are in Rochester? And not in the office, in the field. I don't want the ones that are sitting at the desk I don't want those ones. I want the ones that are in the field. Those are the statistics that we need. Those are the statistics that change grants. Those are the statistics that get us grants, because that's the information that we need out here, is to show that we're lacking in women that are in the field, that are minorities, that's what we need. We need that information out there. We don't need to have how many are in the office. That doesn't help us. And that's not happening. That's why I was saying that each state here that's connected in any kind of way needs to go to their state apprenticeship council and tell them, you need these statistics, where they make it law, because they don't have it law, and that's how they're getting away with it. We just had that happen probably about 2 years ago here, and it just happened here in the state of Nevada. That's the only reason why we got the statistics. That's the only reason why I know there's 272 women compared to 6,200 men. Otherwise, you won't even know that.
You know, it's interesting you say that, Evelyn, because, you know, myself as being a project manager, I've had women foremen that have been on projects, and neither one of our time to these projects count. And so that definitely is an area that legislation, I think, needs to improve on and have those conversations with, because I think as a female foreman, would you agree, Jenny, that, you know, your time is just as valuable as any other, you know, woman in that team, if you will?
Yeah, but it's not this, but it's not legislative, Jody. It's the state. I'm telling you, I'm going through that right now. It's the state. We have to start from the bottom. We can go up there to the legislation. We can have them do different laws and different this, but it starts here in our own state, our own governor. The governor needs to do this. The governor needs to put it out there that says that the workforce here, because everybody has a workforce connections. So the governor and the workforce connection needs to come together and say that we're going to pass our bylaws and say that they're going to give the information from each trade, is going to give us those statistics every quarterly, so everybody knows who's not doing their job and who's not focusing on getting minority women into the trades. That's the bottom line.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. I really appreciate that, Evelyn. As we're kind of rounding out our time here a little bit, if there's any, you know, questions that anybody else would like to ask, you know, please raise your hand or put something in the chat. I've kind of got a little bit, you know, of a closing here for a question for each of you. And Allie, thank you again for being here tonight, but I would like to ask this of you. What is something you think our male colleagues and mentors should know about being supportive of women in the workforce?
Ooh, you know, honestly, I think just don't be afraid to be a mentor. You know, don't be afraid to step up and be that guy. I think that, you know, in dealing with women, just be straightforward, be honest, and be approachable. You don't need to be gruff or bossy or any of those things, but be approachable and let this woman know that you're willing to help her. And I think just that alone, that your willingness to help and be supportive of her, it goes far beyond anything you could do for her on the job site. You know, just like, hey, if you're looking for another contract, like say she's an electrician, I'm just going to throw this out there. Say she's an electrician and she's in an apprentice program and it's contract labor if you're in the union. And hey, I know of this other contract that you might be interested in, and I can help introduce you to people, or, you know, anything like that. But just being willing to be that guy is huge. It's absolutely huge.
I like that, Allie. So true. Evelyn, what do you think?
Thank you. And I also think too, is what I say to the guys, would you talk to your mom with that mouth? Would you disrespect your wife? Would you talk to your daughter? I think every male should have a daughter. I really do. I think every man should have a daughter, so they know how to respect women, so they know how to treat women, and they don't do that craziness that they go off into, this tangent that they do. And I believe that, right? And a lot of times I always say to the guys in there, I'm not your wife. I don't wake up next to you. I don't lie with you. I don't have sex with you. So stop treating me like that. And that's how I would talk to them, because you have to get on their level. You can't be over here and act like the I don't know, I don't want to be disrespectful to anybody on here, but you can't. You have to get down in the dirt with them. You have to be with them. You can't act like you're over here, they're over there. We can't do that. We're entitled to be on that job site. We've proven over how many years we're entitled to be on that job site. So we just want to be treated respectfully. But again, we got to make sure that they know that they have to treat us respectfully.
Right, exactly. So Jenny, what do you think some of our male colleagues and mentors should know about being supportive of women?
I think this is just my personal opinion. I think as they know that we're coming to do our job and we're passionate about it. We like, you know, I didn't pick being a carpenter or going in the trades just to be different or, you know, like, you know, a number. I love it. I'm like passionate about it. And I think once they realize that you love what you're doing, you're coming in, you know, you gain their respect, you work alongside them. I think that's right where you start getting the respect right back from them.
Right. So, you know, what this conversation tonight was all about was basically how to retain and recruit women to the field, right? And so I think what I learned tonight is that, you know, honesty is so very important. Confidence is so very important. Mentorship, showing people the way, you know, showing them the ladder, helping them to get up, lifting people up, and doing that collectively, you know, rather than doing, you know, we're men, we're women, we need to work together. And I think that is the most important piece here, because if we don't work together, we're not gonna retain and we're not gonna recruit. And that's where I think that the issues are going to be. So, you know, it's important to me that when I go to work that I feel like I, you know, am doing my job to the best of the ability that I can, along with any other person that I'm working with too. And there's a lot of things that come up as well, where there's some women that stay away from other women in the field because they don't want to be thought of as being cliquey or, you know, just leaning on each other that way. I just, you know, those are the things that I've learned along the way. And I hope throughout this conversation that we've been able to take away some of those important things. So, you know what, Katie, I'm going to turn it over to you. Is there anything you're seeing in the chat that you would like to share? Any comments, any questions, or anything that you want to talk about?
How much time do you have?
We have exactly 13 minutes.
I'm seeing some comments about teamwork. Men can be good mentors and the training and ownership that they give. A lot of thank yous to the ladies and men who participated today in the panel. I guess, you know, personally, I would like to ask each of you, what are your life mottos that you live by?
Go ahead, Allie.
Okay, I'll go first. All right. So, so some of the life mottos that that I live by are: do what you can with what you have where you are, and that's a quote by Teddy Roosevelt. I love Teddy Roosevelt quotes, just to say that. But it's you know, it doesn't matter, you know, what everybody over here is doing. It matters what you're doing. And it matters what you feel in your heart. It is your purpose. And I feel that being in construction and doing the concrete work that I do, the concrete finishing, it really is an opportunity for me to meet other ladies on the job site and get to know them and try and build that camaraderie. But, you know, you don't have to have $1 million to be a badass. You don't. You can be a badass with $5 in your pocket, a penny in your pocket, a nickel in your pocket, as long as you're willing to work hard and you're willing to be coachable. And so do what you can with what you have where you are. It's like Jody said, as long as you show up, you do your best and you give it your all, then you're doing all right.
Evelyn, what would your response be? Your life motto?
This is not our last part of it, right? This is just another question before the end.
This is Katie's need to know.
To thyself be true. That's it. To thyself,
Jenny?
too, ladies. That's it. That says a lot.
It does.
I'd probably say, just like dealing, just being a leadership role. And I learned this one many years ago. It's not the action, it's the reaction. I use that all the time. Just how you're reacting to situations, crap hits the fan. How do you react is how, the people that are under you play off that. How, do you lose your shit and then it just things get worse. Or do you take a deep breath because pretty soon you're building these people around you. The other one is like, I love to just build relationships and teamwork. I'm not, I think you get a better product out of those people. You get, sometimes you might have to call someone at 2 a.m. on a Saturday night to tell them that there is a water leak and we need to find 10 people to go in, and building those relationships with them and, earning their trust in you is huge. I think it's just huge for being successful. So that's one of my biggest things is, relationships.
So Jenny, I think right there was your inspirational story, is that you ended up having to at 2 a.m. call people in, and because of your relationship building, you made it happen, right?
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, when you got over 100 guys and you're calling their phone at 1:30 in the morning, that always doesn't go over well, if they don't know you. So it's kind of funny, the wife's like, who is that? Crap, I gotta go to work. So yeah, it's kind of funny.
And I would like to ask, I see Laleen is on the center of my screen right now. Hello there, my friend from our national board. What would your life motto be?
Wow, that's a tough one. Again, everything that these ladies have said are things that have rolled around in my own head. And I think the time and the situation often really makes you, and I don't want to say suck it up, but just be your best self and try. And that's all you can ask of people is, like Allie said, you can only give what you have. And so if you're giving it all and that's the best you can do, then people have to stop and appreciate that too sometimes and recognize that. Because you can only do what you have. So, yeah.
Laleen, always great advice. And I see my friend Doreen is with us tonight too from New York. What would your life motto be?
Oh boy, you're killing me. Mine is there's a solution to everything. And, and just be happy where you are too. So.
For sure.
Thank you for asking.
Well, of course, it's so good to see you.
Same here.
And what would your life motto be?
Thanks for asking me last. I had a little bit of time to think about it, but actually my motto is look what we can do. Because it takes all of us to get the job done.
Most definitely. That is, like I said earlier on, that is the beauty about NAWIC, is that we can come together, have our safe place to have conversations, to agree to disagree, and to be able to speak our minds, and to take away a greater respect for what we do every day. I don't work in the trenches, as Evelyn would say, but I do speak to the heart, like she has always encouraged to do. And this has been a very important topic to me, and I want to continue working with Allie as she serves as our tradeswoman council chair, and just to learn more and more about what we can do to help our tradeswomen in the field, so that Jory, we can increase those numbers and meet those goals that you constantly work for every day in and day out. So Katie, I'm going to throw it back to you one more time. I haven't been reading everything, and you've done a great job of helping me out tonight. Anything else you see or would like to ask? And then if not, I just have one final thing.
I don't see anything in the chat. So if you have questions, now's your chance.
Fantastic. And as serving as our national president for NAWIC, I would just like for you to say a few words about, you know, our past year and how things have looked and what you see for our future.
Oh, thanks, Jody. Remind me to, I don't know, send you a gag gift or something for putting me on the spot all night. Actually, there have been a lot of great opportunities. I know that the pandemic has really rocked our world, and a lot of people, we're all still trying to you know, come back from it and find out what our new normal is. But I think that it really has opened up a number of opportunities for women in the construction industry. We've always had an alliance with OSHA. Well, I shouldn't say always, but for a long time, we've had an alliance with OSHA. And because of the pandemic and we were talking about the cleanliness on the job sites, they are coming to us wanting to have conversations about what they can do with the regulations and things. So ladies, we are making a difference. It's taken some time, but we're making a difference. We just need to keep having those conversations and getting in front of them, which again, we are doing. I mentioned that we have a lot of companies, associations that are reaching out to us wanting to partner, more than I've ever seen before. And I think it's because they understand that women are very important to the future of the construction industry. So we have Doreen Bartoldas, who's president-elect. We have Lauline, who's a vice president. Jody was a former region director. I think we have Raven on here too as Midwest region. So the board, we really have been, there's Raven. We really have been working hard together this year to make sure that we can continue to adapt and change and take advantage of all those opportunities.
Thank you. And thank you for always being willing to hop in when the questions are asked. I really, really appreciate that. We have a question out here, and I'm not sure if we have the answer to it at this point, but we could probably come up with an answer here at a later time. But from Jane, she's asking, how many NAWIC women sit or work with WIOA workforce boards? Do we have a gauge on that?
No, I don't think we do, but we can definitely look into that.
That's the WIOA. That's the WIOA. Is that the WIOA program you guys are talking about? Is that what we're talking about, ladies? The WIOA program? The WIOA program is a program that, and unions will not do it, so we can count them out. Contractors, separate contractors might do it. It's a way for a woman that has a certain amount of income, or male, whoever, has a certain amount of income, and a contractor can hire them. And then what happens is WIOA turns around and gives them like half of that pay for like 6 months or something like that, gives them back that money. But unions are not going to do it because they don't have to, right? And that's what they say. I'm just saying what they say, everybody. And so, but it's mainly for like private contractors that will hire. And I know some here in Nevada that I want to get involved, but it's really hard to get the left hand to do the right hand and the right hand to meet the left hand. But yeah, it needs to happen. WIOA is a very good program, very, very good program to help.
We will definitely look into that, because that does sound like it would be interesting to get involved with that. So we'll look into
the other part, then, if we want to do all that, and I don't know, Allie, I'm gonna put you on the spot here too. That I believe that NAWIC needs to be more involved with us women that are helping the women that are getting into the trades. I believe that that's not happening here in Vegas. So I'm just gonna put it out there, and we're being true on this. I think that Nevada Women Trades brings a lot to the table. I think we're out there getting the women out there. We're doing all the marketing. We're doing everything. And I believe that somewhere down the line, NAWIC should have us included in something, to where, because we are helping with that part, right? We are doing that job, right? So I feel that NAWIC needs to step up a little bit more. And I'm on a chair board right now for NAWIC Women in the Trades Committee, and it's really going slow-mo, right? And again, if you want to be on committees and not get the glory and actually get the work done, then that's why you should be on the committee. Don't be on the committee because you can say, oh, I'm on the NAWIC committee and nothing gets done. Nobody's doing nothing. We're all spinning and chasing our tails. I don't get on committees to sit there and chat about what I did yesterday or what I can do. I get on these committees so I can help the community that needs our help in what we're supposed to be doing, being leaders in what we're supposed to be doing.
So I think, yes, I agree. And so I think with our closing minute, I'm going to take that opportunity to thank Allie, Evelyn, Jenny, Connie, Jim, Laudeline, Doreen, Ann, everybody that I kind of called out to bring into the conversation today. And just remind you of that statement that Lorene had said not too long ago that she had shared, if it's about us, without us, it's not for us. And so I think that is really important to think about in anything that you do. Just make sure that you're in it to win it. So hey, with that, it's 6 p.m. my time. And I appreciate each and every one of you for taking your time to be with us tonight. The conversation was very well received.
Thanks for having me, Jody.
Thank you.
Jody, thank you so much. It was great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You guys are fabulous. Thank you.
Take care.
Take care. Good night.
Yeah.
Good talk.
Bye. It was great to see everybody.
Good talk.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.